Okay, this is a structure I'm following based on the understanding that what Sharon said in her book isn't going to happen. Okay, and because there's some serious concepts I'm going to talk about here, but this is based on the understanding that how we're living today is pretty much going to stay this way for a while, with a lot of adjustments to it. We're going to adjust and that sort of thing. This is betting this particular presentation. This doesn't mean I necessarily agree with what I'm about to say, but it's betting that we're not going to go to hell in a handbasket immediately, almost out of existence, and that climate change isn't going to sweep us out of our homes, and that Yellowstone isn't going to blow up and it won't matter anyway. So, we are facing climate change, and we can see it. In the last 5 years, the temperature of the Earth has gone up 1 degree. It's gone up 2.5 degrees in Arizona in the last 5 years. That's scary. I've been talking about climate change for over 20 years now, and I thought I'd be dead before I saw this kind of thing happen. And this is happening fast. It's happening much faster than we thought. So, what do we need to do about this? Our goal has to be zero emissions, obviously. So how do you do zero emissions? Well, we had a really good session on green building here earlier about how to go to that, how to do it simply. Things you can do in your own house, insulate properly, have somebody come in and do infrared and check and see how you're wasting energy. The idea is to get as energy efficient as you possibly can be, because that's where a lot of our greenhouse gases are coming from, is our energy use, both in our buildings. Actually, it turns out to build all our buildings and to maintain and run all our buildings creates more greenhouse gas emissions than even driving all our cars around. And that's why we're trying to, us guys in the Green Building Council and that sort of thing are trying to make zero emission buildings. So the other thing is to stop driving your cars around. Walk, ride your bike, etc., etc. Okay, I'm going to move fast because I want to hear what Sharon has to say. We've got lousy transportation systems. They wreck our lives. They basically it screws everything up. It's very interesting for us, Sharon and I, just to come over here from our little hotels, which are right nearby. And we took our lives in our hands coming back and forth because Tucson is so car dependent. It's all about the cars. That's what it's all about. I often say that when you go to Sedona, which is where I live now, and you look at Sedona, if an alien laid down in Sedona, you don't even have to be an alien, just a European, and you go in and take a look at Sedona, you would say, what is the most important thing in Sedona to the people who live there? And it is to drive as quickly as possible through town. Because if you look around, that's where we're spending all our money. It's on these roads and things like that. But at any rate, we just need to stop doing that. I drove 250 miles to come here and to talk to you guys about living sustainably. How unsustainable is that? That's nuts. I should have hopped on the light rail, the rail line, the express line, taken a shuttle to the express line, taken the express line to Phoenix, switched, come down to Tucson, and then taken a bus over. I couldn't do it. We got to do that. We have to do that kind of thing. Get rid of our cars. Okay, we're threatening our natural resources. We are the only people on the planet, the only things on the planet Earth that create waste, generate waste. So I'll get to that later. But we grab stuff out of the natural environment and then we wreck it. And this has to do with some of the laws of thermodynamics, where you change things. Once you change it, there's a law of entropy, and you just can't get it back. I mean, if I take a tree and I make it into a chair, I can't make it back into a tree. And then if I burn that chair for heat, it's ash. It's gone. So we keep doing this kind of thing. So we're screwing things up by ripping the tops off mountains so that in West Virginia, so that we can heat our homes. 80% of your electricity here in Tucson comes from coal. That's not a good idea, at any rate. So we've got to stop doing that. We've got to switch remember I said our economy's screwy. Right now, it's less expensive to buy something that's made from virgin materials than it is to made from recycled materials. How crazy is that? Okay, water resources. Well, you guys know about this. In fact, you guys are leading edge stuff. Some years ago, I wrote a program for kids called Earthstar Eureka Discovery, and I profiled Tucson because you guys were using less water in the United States than most people. You were using a third less at the time, and I thought that was very, very cool. So, however, now I found out that Luxembourg uses 35 gallons per person per day. And, yeah, Luxembourg. And how do they do that? 110. You're up a little bit from what you used to be. I'll tell you how they do it. My wife and I use between 25 and 30 gallons of water per person per day in our house. And we have rainwater catchment all over our property and our house, and we have dual flush toilets, and we believe in 3 P's to the pot, and we have low flow stuff. And so your biggest single user in your house is your toilet. So if my half flush toilet is less than a gallon a flush, and if I only flush it every once in a while, there you go. That's a big lessening in water use. And you guys can do that. It's easy. At any rate, later on, Brad Lancaster is going to be here and is going to be doing one on rainwater harvesting. He's the guru, and he lives here. And if you get a chance to drive by his house and take a look at a jungle in Tucson, you should do that. It's very good. Learn how to do that kind of thing. And also, by the way, if you figure out ways to get water to stay around a little longer in an ecosystem, it brings more water. It restores the natural hydrological cycles. Food supplies. We live on industrial agriculture. In the United States, the average dinner travels 1,500 miles or more to your dinner table. And that's crazy. In Arizona, 70% to 75% of our water is used in agriculture. How much of that is on your dinner table? Anybody got a guess? Maybe 1%, maybe less. I mean, unless you do grow your own food or you shop at the farmers markets completely, most of that stuff comes from the Imperial Valley, it comes from Mexico, it comes from who knows where. I talked to a farmer in Canada whose product goes over to the United States, and what he grows is shipped back from the United States to Canada. So we need an agricultural renaissance. We have here in Arizona, this is a wonderful thing, because of the natives who lived here for hundreds of years before us white guys showed up, they figured out how to grow sustainable food just using the surface water and what they could get out of shallow wells and that sort of thing. And so they know how to grow crops using very little water. I have a strong feeling that we could use 1/3 the water we're using now for agriculture and grow all of our own food in Arizona. We just have to do it.